What's going on, everyone? So reports came out that the Los Angeles Lakers are still a possible option for a potential Zach Lavine trade. Look, you all know, if you watch my videos, watch this channel, you know I am huge on Zach Lavine. I think he is the highest ceiling raiser. I think he gives us the best chance at competing and contending for an NBA championship. A lot of people think that, like, hey, if you get Zach Lavine, what about the depth? What about the depth? Not like we're this, like, super deep, overly talented team, right? Like, and it's not like it's just Zach Lavine and that's it. Right, you go get Zach Lavine, and then you could still go get a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Day'Ron Sharpe, a Cody Martin, right? If you're willing to trade Reeves, you go even get like a Bruce Brown or something like that, you know, a kind of higher-end guy to pair alongside Zach Lavine. Even next offseason, right, the salary cap goes up. LeBron James could take $20+ million less. Right? He was willing to do it this past offseason for a Klay Thompson, Jonas Valanciunas, and a DeMar DeRozan. Zach Lavine's better than all of them. Right? Like, Lakers would be fine in that regard. His contract isn't as big of a deal. The injury history is way overblown. I've talked about it enough. Go check out those videos, or just simply Google and look at his game-by-game seasons, right? And that'll clearly get cleared up. His defense, right? People talk about him being a bad defender. Again, Google exists. Go look up his defensive rating year after year, and then look up a league average, and he's either at or better than league average pretty much every year. So I'm not really worried about it. He'd slot in. And I don't know how people watch these games and aren't coming to the conclusion that we need Zach Lavine. Now, more and more people are coming on the Tyler Lavine hype train. Like, every day I get comments that are like, dude, I thought you were crazy. I thought, this was a terrible idea. But the more you've talked about it, the more we've seen and watched, the more I'm agreeing with you. Because, again, like, you watch these games, and it's like LeBron has to go get you a 30-point triple-double just for you to have a chance to win. Not even win the game, just for you to get a chance to win. Anthony Davis giving you 40 points, right? Lakers offensively have been terrible. Defensively, the last, 6 games, they've been, number one in total defensive efficiency, and yet they're 30th in offense, right? If J.J. Redick could get Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell as and Rui Hachimura as your 3 main defensive guys, you don't think you'll be able to make Zach Lavine, who is just more athletic, quicker, more physical, you don't think that he'd be able to make him at least serviceable? He'd already be our 3rd best defensive player right now, or 4th, 3rd best perimeter guy, right? So again, I think it checks all the boxes. Imagine him in the Austin Reeves role. Right, it would take so much pressure off of LeBron James, take so much pressure off of Anthony Davis, him and his ability to play on ball, play off ball. He's having a career year also. Now, obviously, I don't expect him to be, what he is in Chicago, because big difference between being the number 1, number 2 option and going to LA and being the 3rd option. But on most nights, he's probably going to be the number 1 or number 2 guy just because of his ability to score. He would be the best natural scorer on the team by a mile. Again, that doesn't mean best player. Talk about just pure score. Zach Lavine, he's ridiculous. He's the closest thing that LeBron would ever have as Kyrie, 2.0, right? Just the ability to score the basketball at all 3 levels in a multitude of ways. Apply rim pressure, give you that athleticism. Go get a point of attack guard, get a 3-and-D win and a Dorian Finney-Smith or something like that. Let's go win. Right? That's kind of my thoughts about it. Now, I do think it's kind of becoming increasingly less likely, just because I think, how much more do you need to see? Right? A month ago, I talked about how, if you're the Lakers, you want to be patient, right? He's just coming off of surgery. You want to make sure that he can be healthy, that he can get right? You don't want to end up rushing to go get him, and then he ends up getting hurt, and then, because we've seen a lot of guys, they go and have surgery, they come back, and then a week or 2 later, they're hurt again because they didn't properly take the time to heal. So, I got it. But now, we're 30 games in, and we still haven't seen Zach Lavine in a trade. It's what more are you waiting to see? The guy's having, an insane season, on top of having an insane season, right? He's everything that this team needs as far as that 3rd guy. You still would be able to fill out depth. You'd still be able to do the things that you need to do. It's just how much more of a sample size do you need to see? Lavine's been healthy. Lavine's been fine. That's where my dilemma lies with this. The other argument, I guess the counterpoint for that, is like Lavine isn't going anywhere, right? So if you're the Lakers, you could argue that, okay, like why go make the trade today when we could make the trade, at the trade deadline, but in the meantime, we can see if we can get multiple pieces. Because I've even talked about, right, before Dennis Schroeder got traded, as big as I am on Zach Lavine, I've talked about, like, if you get the full Brooklyn trade, I'd rather that than just Zach Lavine, right? Like, my thing is, from a singular trade standpoint, there's nobody better on the market for the Lakers, fit-wise, skill set, complementary, like what this team needs and what we're looking at, than Zach Lavine. So if you're talking about like which one trade gives us the best chance at winning a championship, it is Zach Lavine by himself, right? But if you could do multiple pieces and multiple trades, then yes, now if you could do, if you could basically solve all your holes, get a legit backup center, 2 multiple wings, right? Like, then yes. But now it's becoming more and more unlikely that the Lakers are going to be able to do all that. Cam Johnson, good luck. Right? As soon as the Oklahoma City Thunder came into the conversation, that was it. Right? The Thunder could just give 5 firsts and whatever they want just for fun and still have the most assets in the entire league. Right? The Warriors could put together a better package. Cam Johnson is more likely than not off the table. Could you get a Dorian Finney-Smith? Sure, I do think that that's still a realistic possibility. But guess what? You can get him and still get Zach Lavine. Right? After that, the Washington Wizards trade. I've talked about Washington a lot lately. Why? Because there's just so much reports and talks about Washington, and he's probably the most likely to end up a Laker. And yet, so many people are like, Washington isn't it. Stay away from Washington. Brogdon's injury prone. Kyle Kuzma's not very good. Jonas Valanciunas isn't the defensive center we need. Okay, so then what other options are there? Portland, they want way too much for Jeremy Grant and, Robert Williams. You're not trading 3 firsts for those 2. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Lakers don't even have that to go trade for those guys. And especially with Jeremy Grant and his terrible contract, right? Like, it's just, again, what's realistic, what's available, what's an actual option that can raise the ceiling enough, right? Zach Lavine is probably the closest thing you have. And you'd still have Zach Lavine with Anthony Davis post-LeBron. Zach Lavine's timeline, as far as contract-wise goes, still matches up with Anthony Davis and LeBron James in that timeline. And then look, if Zach Lavine works out great, give him a new contract that he could stick around into the later years. He's still only 29 years old. He won't be 30 till March, right? So, again, he finished 2 years, be 32 years old. If he's still got it, he's still cooking, and he's still doing a lot of the things that you need, maybe sign him to a $20 million year deal or something like that. 2 years, $40 million or something, once his contract's up from now. I don't think the issues that people bring up with Lavine aren't the same. I've made counterpoints to all of it regularly, right? I've talked about it so much. Again, go watch those videos if you want kind of more in-depth, arguments for the counterpoints for Lavine. But it's just, again, what better options are there out there, right? What's realistic out there, right? Like Brandon Ingram, sure, I'd love to have Brandon Ingram. Similar idea, be your third guy, put the ball on the deck, do multiple things, make plays, score the basketball, do all that stuff, right? Sure. But the fit is good. There's no question about the fit with Zach Lavine. Could there be a little bit of a learning curve? Sure. Right? You're putting guys together. They still need to figure it out. But there also might not be. It might just be easy plug and play. It might just be like, hey, dude, you're the scorer. Don't worry about anything else. Me and Anthony Davis will figure out how to work around you. You go and just be the guy that you are, which is just a bucket getter that can go get 50 on any given night. How do you defend the Lakers with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Zach Lavine? Zach Lavine would be our best 3-point shooter right now by a good margin. Why wouldn't you want that? And, to kind of go over the stats and wrap up this, this video, also Denver is supposedly interested in him, and I'm terrified of that. We can't beat Denver now. If they get Zach Lavine, you can kiss ever beaten Denver goodbye. But look at this season, 26 games, right? 33 minutes per game. He's averaging 15.5 field goal attempts per game, shooting 50% from the floor. He is shooting 7.5 threes per game. 7.5 threes per game. He's shooting 44% from three-point range on 7.5 attempts per game. And that is without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Imagine it slotted alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But I digress, right? 8 field goal attempts, from 2-point range on 55.5% from 2-point range. He has an EFG of 60.3%, which is the best of his career. He's shooting 82% from the foul line on 3.6 attempts. He's a career 4 attempt per game guy. He's averaging 4.5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, half a block, and 22 points per game. All of that the Lakers could desperately use, right? And he might not, like, especially the efficiency that he's giving, he'll get that many field goal attempts. You look at like Austin Reeves and D'Lo and these guys, right? Like they're getting that attempts. If he's the third guy, he'll get the field goal attempts, right? He's only taking, like I said, 15.5 field goal attempts per game. He'll get probably 14 or 15 attempts per game. So he'll be at that efficiency 20 plus a night, right? Like his numbers, his stats that he's providing this season easily could translate to the Lakers, in my opinion. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Like I always say, look, every time I have an opportunity to talk about Zach Lavine, I'm going to talk about Zach Lavine, put it in the ether, put it in the universe, and hope that maybe it ends up happening, because I do think it would completely change this team. But do you feel the same way? Do you not? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.